We asked Dr. Katie to stick around because I just want to get her say on this. We talk a lot about parenting and how we're all just trying to do our best.
Yeah, but there is one behavior that experts say 90% of parents are guilty of that actually leads our kids to stray in adulthood.
And that is called the sibling loyalty trap.
Ooh.
Now, I am an only child. Katie has brothers but is raising an only child, and Mikey has siblings but is also raising an only child.
Yep.
So I feel like we can all kind of weigh in on this. The sibling loyalty trap, you may have never heard of the actual term, but there is, again, a very, very good chance that you have put your kids in this position. I know I have without even knowing it. Essentially, it's whenever we say, hug your brother, be nice to your sister. That forced compliance is setting up an, I would say, unrealistic expectation in the house. We're trying to end conflict, and we're actually forcing our kiddos to get along and essentially go against what they feel is right. So there's a reason that there is a conflict happening. They are sticking up for their own point of view. They want to essentially go to war. They feel like this is a good enough hill to stand on. And as parents, we're saying, no, no, no. You go with whatever your sibling says. Be nice. That's not what we do. And essentially, we're trying to tell them to ignore their own feelings. Now, some signs to look out for that you have trapped your kid in this loyalty trap. So again, it's as far as traps go, I'd say it's the best one. They're always making excuses for their sibling. They cannot do any wrong. They stay silent after hurtful behavior, essentially because they know how their parent will react. And they are the fixer when it comes to family conflict because they have always been told to not react.
Wow.
Do you feel as though your parents may have said this to you a time or two?
Yeah, I think so. I will just say that hindsight, looking back, I just remember, like you said, feeling like I was upset about something or just mad about something, and my mom or my dad just been like, don't be mad. And I'm like, but I am mad. Like, I'm mad. And I think that you need to have that safe space to be able to be vulnerable and not be judged for it and allow your kid to express that emotion that they're having, because just because you don't agree with it doesn't invalidate it. It's real.
So true.
I'm laughing because I don't actually remember my parents doing this, so great job, Mike and Karen. But this is so funny to me. My two younger brothers were closer in age, and they would argue all the time. And I can remember a time taking the two of them. I was like, all right, you're coming with me. And we sat down in the playroom, and they weren't allowed to leave until they worked it out. So we didn't have this.
You were the fixer.
I was
Katie's the fixer.
You know, but also to your point, Cal, I find myself doing this now, and I've stopped. Even prior to this, I'll come in close to Logan, and I'll say, hey, give mommy a kiss, give me a kiss. And it's almost like I'm forcing it on him.
Same.
But when he comes and he does it himself, it feels so much better, like he wanted to.
Well,
yes.
that's funny you say that because they did have some tips on how to avoid. And essentially, the first thing we do, before we say, be nice to your sister, do not fight with your brother, we say, essentially, I hear you. I hear what's going on here. What happened between the two of you?
Yes.
Have the one sibling explain. And if you feel like their version isn't the greatest, you're going to need to ask for the other version to probably find the middle where the truth lies. Also, don't force physical attention and affection. And I understand this as well because I'm watching all of my friends try to make sure that World War III does not happen in their house.
Yes.
No one wants CPS at the door whenever they hear two sisters fighting. But essentially, that should come naturally. And then last up, let kids know it's okay to walk away.
Yeah.
I know.
And what about
love
letting them handle it, right? Like starting to establish you two can work this out.
Yeah. Close the door.
Mom and dad to come in, or big sister.
That's right. But to that point, you're reinforcing their strengths and not focusing on their weaknesses. And I love that. So simple.
Yeah. As an only child, I'm not in the trap, but I wish you all
I wish you
peace.
They love you the most, Cal.
Oh, yeah.
love.